In what is now shaping up to be the first big fight card of the year, we are being blessed, graced with the opportunity to see quality boxing take place. And we're talking about the February 1st card that will feature David Benavidez and David Morrell. This is a mighty strong card with a definitely killer main event. But also a part of that promotion is Figueroa Fulton 2, Pitbull Cruz versus Fierro, and Ramos Jr. versus Rosario. Let's talk about one of these fights on this card that many people are not thinking much of, but it could still turn out to be quite an engaging situation. February 1st, we'll see the return to the ring of David Benavidez and David Morrell. But there's a fight on the undercard that many people are not talking about that could be very entertaining. A great appetizer leading up to the main event. And that'll be when Jesus Ramos Jr. takes on Jason Rosario. Yeah, we're talking about 154-pounders who are all set and ready to prove themselves once again. Both men have suffered setbacks, and both men have returned from setbacks. In the case of Ramos Jr., we're looking at someone who is trying to find his way toward a title in a division where there are outstanding contenders and former champions all vying for a spot and shot at the world title at 154 pounds. In the case of Rosario, we're talking about a man who has tasted the spoils of success in the division, and he's looking to once again become a world champion. Now, when we talk about this fight card, it's tremendous. As I said, the biggest fight card thus far of the year, and it's only February. And we know that there's a great opportunity for things to take off. Rosario, we can remember, was once a champion and had the opportunity and luxury after defeating Julian Williams, J-Rock, with a 5th round TKO victory back in January of 2020. He immediately lost that title to Jermell Charlo, who went on to become undisputed in the division. A second loss after the Charlo fight was Erickson Lubin, who stopped him in 6 rounds. He was down twice in the round 6, but he came back to put together a string of victories before losing once again to Brian Mendoza in November of 2022. Now, talking about this particular fight and what is better suited for each guy, in the case of Ramos, he's always been strong at the weight. He seems to be a guy who could maybe be at middleweight, possibly super middleweight, because after rehydrating past the weigh-in, he always looks so much bigger than his opponents. And in the case of an event when he faced the likes of Joey Spencer, there was something that we noticed about it. He was very strong against Spencer. Spencer didn't last against Ramos. He took him out in the 7th round, but he was battering him around and showing a strength that Spencer just couldn't keep up with. It could have been too soon for Joey, but Jesus was really a guy that was on a different trajectory at the time. What was more telling was his next fight against Erickson Lubin, and he lost a unanimous decision to Lubin, who outboxed him over 12, and he took some time off after that fight and has put together a victory over Johan Gonzalez. But now that he's taken on Jason Rosario, it's a different kettle of fish. You know, we talk about these fighters and what we like to see out of them, but sometimes the fighters will present themselves with the type of fights that define who they are and what they are as champions or contending fighters. And in the case of Rosario, his most recent fight was a fight that he found himself in against Jarrett Hurd. Now, the Hurd fight, which was in August of 2024, a split decision draw in which neither former champion were fighting at junior middleweight. They were fighting at middleweight. And Jason Rosario is not a middleweight. He is a 154 pounder. But he did just enough to break even with Hurd, and Hurd did nothing to try to break the ice and go through with something against Rosario that can lean toward victory. Now, these two men facing one another, Rosario and Ramos, have similar circumstances, but there's an oddity that is taking place between these two men facing one another. The typical Southpaw Orthodox matchup. In this case, the Dominican Rosario is the Orthodox fighter at 5'11" with a 70-inch reach. Now, Ramos is a Southpaw, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. And neither guy is a great boxer, but both guys like to fight. So, what will that mean when they face one another on February 1st? What it means is that someone is going to have to impose themselves on the other. And when that imposition takes place, someone's going to have to adjust to the person who has imposed. That's when the fight will begin. And you have to lean toward Rosario because Rosario has the experience. And at the age of 29, his present record, 24-4 with 2 draws and 18 KOs, speaks of what he's been able to do. Now, he also can knock people out. And he has done that with surprise. But Jesus, who's coming in, and his record being 21-1 with 17 KOs, finds him to be maybe the more stronger of the two when it comes to punching. And he's 23 years of age. So he's still growing into a capacity of strength that Rosario has already tapped out at. There's something going on also with Rosario's body, because when fighters go to his body, funny things happen to him. He doesn't respond in the best ways. And when you think about when they face the common opponents, there's something to also pay attention to. Lubin got the unanimous decision over Ramos, and he stopped Rosario. But Brian Mendoza, Ramos got the unanimous decision over him, and Rosario was stopped by Brian Mendoza. So you see that even the triangle theory is off balance here, because two men competing can show different things at different times. But I really like the fight between these two men. It's kind of a crossroads battle. And when you think about it, the youthful Ramos Jr. may be prepared to take that next step. And this is the perfect opponent to serve that for him. Now, when you think about Rosario, 28 is not over for him, but he's got to decide whether or not that he wants to impose himself and show why he was a world champion to begin with. Interesting dynamic, interesting perspective, but I'll tell you something. You can look forward to it being a challenging match for both men, and I look forward to it. I lean toward the experience of Rosario, but I do believe that luck may be with Ramos. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know who you think can prevail in this fight and who can come out on top. Will it be Ramos or will it be Rosario? Either way, we're going to be entertained on a great night of fighting and a fight card to kick the year off. Leave comments and let's discuss further. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone, please remain safe.